home's features came straight from their creativity.
Wow.
Such as,
I find it a very impractical trend too. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite.
That's probably one of my favorites.
They're so cute.
That.
They're so cute.
Okay.
This is such a beautiful house. This is so pretty.
So welcome to the front of the house. I do have a new presenter in today's video, Macy, which is the cute dog of this household. We have Siberian larch and napped flint.
It doesn't have eaves troughs though.
We are only 600 meters from the sea.
Have you ever seen inset eaves troughs before, Krish? I didn't know that that was a thing that existed, but I'd imagine that might be what this linear inset is on the roof here. I have so many questions about this. Okay, so if you don't know about me, I'm an architectural technologist based out of Western Canada, and I work primarily in commercial office interiors and commercial office architecture projects. So whenever I do anything related to roofing, it's all commercial and it's all flat. So residential is something that's pretty foreign to me. I don't know as much about it. I'd like to learn more about it, but so I have a lot of questions with things like this, especially with like being in the UK. I would imagine it's incredibly humid, and like this style of roof specifically too, with like it's not even shingles. It's just the same kind of siding that's on the side, and so I imagine it needs some kind of like underlayment or something so that it doesn't have water leaks. But this is really cool to me. I didn't know that recessed eaves troughs were a thing or that exists. It would make a lot of sense though. But I do really like this like minimal design that the exterior is. It's really pretty, really, really pretty.
now, as we know, Dan's an architect, Nina is an interior designer, and many of the home's features came straight from their creativity.
Wow.
Such as this light fitting, which has recycled sushi mats around old plumbing pipe. Incredible. Then we have the staircase here, which is far more than just a purpose-built staircase.
This staircase is stunning. I'm obsessed with this staircase. It's so pretty. I wanted to point out about the lighting too, and this is something that I didn't really realize. So I come from an architecture background, and architecture is one of those things that I've been passionate about since a very young age, but it wasn't until I got in the industry and started working very closely with interior designers. I work more with interior designers now than with architects, and so a good feature light is something that I've learned to appreciate so much. So it's really cool to see them point out those details in this build. And I'm really excited for this tour now, knowing that the husband and wife are professionals as well. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of really nice design choices. I'm stoked.
Art form in itself, beautiful curvature on the way up. They actually had many quotes for that, well over 6 figures, but they managed to get it done for less than £20,000, which was highly impressive. Triple height ceilings with the 2 balustrades, and you just start to get a feel of how amazing this property is. We've got so much to show you. I'm going to take you through all of the rooms of this area. But first, I want to show you what we all want to see. We're going to get straight into it. So come on through this way. The property is made up of 2 parts, the main house and then the floating island. So over this elevated walkway directly across the water, it really pulls you in and gives you that feeling of you are literally...
One of the first homes that I ever designed in high school, when I took my first architectural class, had a detail like that. And at the time, I felt like I was so cutting edge for coming up with something like that. And I'm stoked to see it here. This is amazing. Floating
like a beautiful resort in the Maldives over the top of your private natural swimming pool.
So for those that don't know, and I'm not sure if they'll explain this, but I feel like I need to, just in case they don't mention it, natural swimming pools are naturally cleaned or filtered through all of the plant life that they strategically plant around the perimeter. So that's how you get like the really beautiful, like swampy kind of pool feeling, but the water is like very much still recycled through. And I do think that they do have some kind of motor system to help circulate the water so that it doesn't go stagnant. But yeah, they're really, really beautiful. From my understanding too, is I think it takes a bit of time before the plant life has matured enough so that you can actually like use the water safely, but that's my understanding of them. I love them though. I think they're stunning.
Every time you walk through the door, it really entices you, pulls you through the house and makes you just want to walk up and dive straight in.
It has this incredible feeling on your skin, and by the time you get out, it's softened your entire body, your hair, your skin, and you get this buzz from it that lasts the whole day.
I do wonder though if they'd have to add anything to the water to help keep like the pH balances level for like the plant life to be healthy, in the same way that you'd have to like fertilize soil on a regular basis in a garden to help maintain the biodiversity of the soil there too. I wonder, like, I can't imagine that there's no maintenance. Like, for example, Krisha's mom has a saltwater hot tub, which is incredible because for that same reason that they described, you don't have the same like gross feeling of chlorine on your body when you get out after the fact. And in a lot of ways, I think it actually like makes your skin feel softer and is like better for your skin. And but upon hearing about it for the first time, I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like how it was advertised was that you don't have to add anything to the water really. You just like electrify the water, and then the salt, it like zaps the salt, and then it like kills all the bacteria in it. And it turns out, learning about it after they bought it and owned it for a while, that it's not quite that easy. There is still some additives and like work that they have to do, and then they have to change the water like every year or 6 months or something like that. So like there's a little bit more work entailed, but it's still way less than a conventional regular hot tub with all the chemicals and stuff. So it's still, I would still love to get one. If I ever got a hot tub, it would be a saltwater one for sure.
Be addictive. So I'll go in about 5 times a day when it's hot, because it's better than coffee. It works better than anything else I've ever experienced. It's a very addictive thing to have.
I do wonder too what natural pools, how they would work in climates with a more harsh winter like Canada. Like, would it work as well here? Or do they thrive best in climates where the plant life and the water can just cycle all year round?
I feel so lucky to have it, and it was 100% the right decision of Dan's, and thank God you pushed for it.
As I mentioned before, Dan is an architect. He came up with the design of this home. Nina is an interior designer. They built their company, Studio Fuse, and we were talking to them earlier about favorite features. And one thing Dan said, things that he was really proud of, was of course this incredible pool, totally unique, the staircase, and the look of the house from the back there.
This is so
and you
beautiful.
can actually sit over there and enjoy all of those 3 elements of architecture in one go.
And the one thing that I'll point out too, I think the one thing about this design specifically that will make it feel timeless and chic, I'd say for years to come, is their use of organic finishes. You'll notice that like everything is very natural feeling, and I love that.
I was just watching a tiny little baby frog this morning actually, and all of the baby newts are starting to swim around as well. And the swallows come down and drink from the water. We have wagtails skipping over the lily pads, eating the insects. It's just a complete delight. You know, it's just beautiful.
Well, and that's the cool thing about natural landscaping too, especially when you achieve a really beautiful balance like this, is that like there isn't really that much maintenance. Like in terms of their yard work and their plant life and stuff, I'd imagine that they don't have to do a lot. Native landscaping is some of my favorite. Like, it's literally my favorite.
Every single morning, what you do is you open the curtains, and the first thing you look at is what's happening on the water.
Now coming into the kitchen, first up we have this seating area, which is perfect for a morning coffee overlooking your natural swimming pool. Then over to my left in this corner is a breakfast area.
The exposed beams too are so pretty.
Wintertime. They've carried the Siberian larch from the outside into the kitchen, and they've also used a white induction hob for that really sleek look, and they've also got black accents like this cooker hot tap. Now there's some cool cupboards in here because this one is hidden through this section here. There we go, a little touch one. And
it's interesting, you'll see behind her the sink on the end. That's really interesting to me. I feel like usually especially in like more upscale, higher end homes like this, usually the sink is almost a feature in the kitchen. This is one of those kitchens that has the it's a kitchen but not really a kitchen kind of designs, where I don't see where the fridge is, you don't see the stove. So is this the main kitchen, or is this more like a wet bar or like an entertaining space for the natural pool and having people over? Maybe they'll talk about that.
There we go. Little touch one, and then on this side is the fridge and freezer. But
there it is.
But contemporary, and then you also have a large sliding.
This might be the stove here. This like rectangle mounted on the countertop. See, okay, I'm not a huge fan of the it's a kitchen but not really a kitchen style of design, personally. I feel like it stems from a high-end kind of upper class desire to not seem like you have to cook. Like, is it more like a status symbol to be like, oh, like I don't need a fridge because I have a chef to cook for me, or like, you know, I find it a very impractical trend too. It's not my favorite.
Door out to another terrace. Now let's head back through this glass corridor. The concrete flooring follows through. We have Venetian plaster and a kids' playroom around the back.
This is really quaint for how the other side of the house feels. This feels a lot more like a regular, conventional living room design. But I love the concrete floors and carrying that throughout too.
Back. But the best part about this room is the sliding doors into the garden where Matt is currently chilling out.
Now, we've talked about the fact that Dan is
cool.
an architect. We haven't talked about the fact that he also has a degree in psychology. And that was very much utilized in the design and build of this home. After all, what is space if not somewhere where it makes you feel a certain way?
This makes a lot of sense. And the one comment that I have about what I've seen so far of this home design, a lot of times my biggest qualms with really large homes like this is that they have a really inefficient use of space, making things extra large for the sake of being large, having like multiple sinks in the kitchen or like 2 islands side by side or whatever just to fill space. But I feel like this house does a really good job of being large, but very well utilized. And it does feel like each room is designed with intention for the use purpose in mind, which I think is really, really cool. And so it's really interesting now learning that he has a psychology background, because there's a lot of psychology behind the utilization of space. That's something that I'm super fascinated about, especially in the context of like stage and event design. Subconsciously, you will like feel a certain way based off of the environment that you're in. And that's why I think it's so important when it comes to home design and space design that you take care of your environment. And so I know, like, in terms of like clutter and stuff like that, I'm definitely more partial to like a minimal design or minimal like minimalist decor and stuff. Like, I'd rather have one beautiful big feature art piece on the wall than to have a whole bunch of like little frames on the wall, just because sometimes for me, as someone who can get a little bit more anxious or like overwhelmed, if my environment is kind of like chaotic and more piecey, I feel like I kind of can feed off of that, and then it kind of expedites my personality tendencies. And so that's why when it comes to, again, like home design for yourself, even if you're renting your space, it's so empowering to be able to recognize what you can do in your environment to help make you feel good in your day-to-day life all the time. So design is like so powerful in that way. It's super cool.
Incredible views over the garden through the double height glazing. Now let me take you to the principal suite first, which is at the end of the corridor. So first up on the left, you have a nice dressing room area. And then coming into the main space of the room, you've got neutral colors with blush Venetian pasta on the wall, which I love. And The main part about this bedroom is the views of the garden. You have so much natural light in here.
It's so pretty. And it's so tranquil too. I love the again, like kind of the natural organic feel with all the finishes, but it still feels like quite modern.
Over to my right is the ensuite. With
organic modern, I think might be the term, but oh.
Now heading back out, we have 3 more.
And these plants that hang off the edge like this, oh my God, I love them. How long would it take for them to get this long? I want them in my house in some way. They're so beautiful.
On this floor. So firstly, on my right, we've got a guest bedroom, and then the family bathroom is.
And all the light fixtures in this house are just so good.
With brass hardware, and then the Venetian plaster in here as well. Heading back out, let's go to the other side of the corridor where the 2 kids' bedrooms are.
That's actually another design choice that's really, really nice, having the kids' rooms kind of on the other side of the main floor rather than worrying about sharing a wall. That's just like a layer of privacy that I think is really nice to have.
Head into this one first. So Nina designed both the kids' bedrooms. As you can see, they've got so much color, and the en-suites are so cute. They have pink tiles with a gorgeous sink basin. That's probably one of my favorites.
They're so cute.
Kids' rooms is there.
They're so cute.
Okay, we've got another one. This one has quite a cool bed. How awesome is this bed? I would have loved that as a kid.
This is so cute. This is a really well executed, like, blend of organic and timeless with the color. I think it's so cute. This is adorable.
Great views out to the front. And you've also got your own ensuite too in this one. Pink and white tiles, which is a nice touch for the little girl's bedroom.
Oh, that's so cute.
We have 2 more rooms upstairs on the top floor.
That is like, because color is one of those things that it's probably the riskiest in terms of feeling dated or timeless, or like dated or behind the times quicker. and the plaster walls, I'd have to wonder if those were painted on the plaster walls directly. I'd like to know. Plaster feels very permanent. So I wonder how difficult it is if you wanted to change it up at some point in order to do that. But again, in these large homes, they usually have the money to make those changes when they feel like they're tired of them. Like, would those girls still want to have the pink tiles in their bathroom when they're older? Hopefully, because they're very cute. It's so cute.
Now we're on the top floor.
I said I don't really get much to say that that's their parents' call.
One is currently used. We hope you guys enjoyed the tour, and if you did, please remember to hit like and subscribe, and we'll continue to bring you the best house tours in the UK.
This has been one of my absolute favorite episodes, and I get to finish it in the best possible way.
What the heck? What the heck? I loved that. I think this is one of my favorite house designs that we watched on stream too. This is such a well-designed house. It's so, so beautiful. Again, though, going back to the kitchen, so that was the only kitchen in the space. I think that was like my biggest qualm, honestly, is just this kitchen design. I'm not a big fan of how they decided to do this. I think that the large island is really nice. I think that the finishes are beautiful, but I just I wish that it doesn't feel... I don't know. As someone who likes to cook, I think I would have made more of a statement with the fixtures. Did something big with like a big range hood and kind of had the sink maybe just... It feels a little bit like an afterthought on the end of the counter like this here. But I do love the breakfast bar. And the concealed fridge, again, I'm not super mad about. But yeah, they didn't talk about anything with the range hoods and stuff. And this upper cabinet along the back does feel a little bit like a bar rather than a functioning kitchen. This feels more like an entertaining kitchen than a functional house kitchen. That's my only critiques though. This is such a beautiful house.